Welcome to the Kiwi Mana Day. Hi, thanks for making it. This is another week where we are talking about fungi, bee stings and killer bees on episode 80. Woohoo!
Absolutely.
Yeah, baby.
And we have some great news this week.
Absolutely. Congratulations to our executive producers. That's Aaron and Lauren. They did their nuptials over the end of October, and just congratulations, and we were thinking about you, and yeah, we wish you all the best on your new journey.
Absolutely.
Well, it's Gary and Margaret here. We are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in the wonderful West Auckland of New Zealand, and our podcast is about
beekeeping, gardening and life. And we often go off on tangents about other issues.
Yeah, like environment or the politics, which there's always something to talk about. And we've also been known to go off in tangents. Woohoo! I love tangents. And yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, where can the show notes be found, Gary?
They can be found at kiwi.bz/80. And thanks for listening to the show, guys. We really appreciate you've joined us this week. We know life is busy. And in New Zealand, it's especially busy with all the bee swarms and people getting out there and splitting their hives. So thank you for everyone in New Zealand that's taken the time to listen to us, and everyone in the world.
Yes, we've had quite a bit of feedback from all over the place.
Big shout out to our listeners in Nova Scotia this week. That's in Canada. And did you know, Margaret, that Nova Scotia is Latin for New Scotland?
Wow, and I bet you the land is as beautiful as Scotland.
That's right. And I would like to just play a secret recording I made the other day when we heard about the Rugby World Cup final. Would you like to listen to that?
Okay, that's come out of the blue, and it's actually been something that has been distracting me lately. I've been distracted by the All Blacks. I've been distracted by the sunshine. I've been distracted by splits. I've been distracted by swarms, and yes, so much going on.
And you're going to be meeting Dan Carter soon, aren't you?
That'll be very interesting. I wonder if I will actually talk to him. I hope I do. Anyway, I hope.
Indeed. Okay, here is this clip from the World Cup final.
Yeah!
You were very excited to hear the result, weren't you, Dave?
Oh, my goodness. What a awesome game. And I mean that seriously. And, you know, we're even affecting the commentators on the who were commentating on the game. And they mentioned that there was a banana pass. And I was very pleased to hear that. So if you watch that final again for the Rugby Union World Cup, they definitely are being influenced by Kiwi Mana.
Absolutely. Ooh. And thanks everyone that gave their support to the Kiwis, and all the people who mentioned, they replied to us on Twitter, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, and commiserations to the Aussies. They played the game, and without them there would have been no game. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's enough of that.
So what's happening at Kiwi Mana? Well,
yeah, Gary, what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, we picked up our first swarm live on Periscope, and that swarm's doing very well, aren't they? They're they're in a top bar hive now.
Oh, I tell you, we went yesterday. The beekeeper is a new beekeeper. He's 84 and awesome, and he built it's like a bench hive combined with a top bar frames, and the bees have absolutely just gone crazy. It's been there 3 weeks, and there's 15 frames that they've drawn out with their own comb, and it is just amazing to see. So yesterday I caught up with our beekeeper, and it just was amazing. We were both just absolutely thrilled to see what they'd done. And I checked the cells. They're looking good. The larvae's nice and white and clean. And, positive signs for this colony to do really, really well. And even considering splitting at this point.
Yeah, they did very well, weren't they? And it was interesting doing it on Periscope, wasn't it? Because we had Tony from Oregon joined us, and she was watching us actually capture the swarm. Yeah, and I think she was probably the only beekeeper on there. Everyone else was just like other people in the public, and they were commenting and saying we were crazy. And
yes, of course we're crazy. There's no two ways about that one.
So that's something that we need to look into, live streaming. Crazy
with our love for the bees.
That's it.
And Periscope was quite cool because we were actually talking while we were doing the collection, and it was just neat. People were coming and going and enjoying it. So what was that called again? Periscope, And it was actually a lot of fun. We felt like we weren't alone.
Absolutely. And that's something we'll look into later. Also, podcast application. We talked about this in the newsletter, but we're trying to see if there's any interest to get our own Kiwi Mana podcast. And this would make it easier for you guys to download the shows. And it'd be also, I think the biggest benefit would be that it would be easy to put this application on any iPhone, on any smartphone. And they wouldn't need to know about RSS feeds and stuff like that. So make it simple.
Well, you just lost me when you said RSS feeds.
Exactly. So this is why the application would be great for people that aren't very techie.
Okay, and it's easy to put onto your phone?
Yep.
Cool. And most people do have access to all sorts of things on their phones these days. So, yeah, take advantage of it, guys. And how far are we on that?
Well, we're trying to get some support from our Patreon listeners, so if you can help out with our Patreon thing, that'd be awesome. It's kiwimana.co.nz/Patreon.
Yeah, that's when you can be a patron for Kiwi Mana and help support us in the work we do. So everything helps. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we're also excited this week about a new person's making mesh boards for us, So shout out to that person making the mesh boards for us, and so
Absolutely.
That's going to have some more mesh boards on online soon, or screen bottom boards, Herschel, for your benefit.
Yeah, not mesh boards. I think mesh boards, Herschel. Mesh boards are being produced as we speak.
Absolutely, and also great news from Graham's camp. He's feeling a lot better after his operation in hospital, so he's one of our patrons, and thank you, Graham, for all your support, and we hope you get well soon.
Banana!
Absolutely.
Banana! Okay, what's this other thing that you were talking about?
There's a petition at the moment to allow people to plant fruit and vegetables.
Getting a bit political there, Gary.
Yes, on their Auckland berms, and the berm is the part between your property and the road.
Well, in the old days, they used to call them the verge.
I know. I don't know
why they're suddenly calling it a berm. I mean, for goodness sake, it's New Zealand, and we call them verges. And suddenly, out of some blue somewhere, they're saying berms. What the heck?
I don't know. Why are we suddenly celebrating Halloween as well? That's another thing that's just happened.
Well, Halloween, it hasn't really been part of our growing up, but it seems to be very merchandise focused, so it's really about generating income for shop people and stressing out parents, I think.
Yeah, so there's a petition here about this, and apparently Auckland Transport are trying to make people get a permit to actually put plants or trees on their berms.
Oh, that's a fantastic revenue-gathering idea, and it brings me to my political blimmin' tangent about them trying to bully us into maintaining our own verge at our expense because we don't want to have toxic chemicals, which are glyphosate, sprayed on our road frontage. I mean, please, it's just insane what's going on at the moment, and it's almost like if we don't agree to do it the way they want, we're the ones who are going to be penalised for it. And over the last 22 years we've been here, no one has ever gone in there and managed that road frontage. The only thing they've done is mow it, and that has seemed to be sufficient. So I don't know why they suddenly want to start poisoning the land as well. It goes right into the gutters, which goes down the valley with the rain and can poison the waterways. And they act like it's not going to be harmful. And it's just unbelievable, man. They're living in the 1970s.
Absolutely, and our verge is full of big, huge weeds, and we like it that way.
Yeah, the bees love it, man. They're just like, oh, cool, more foraging food, so it's all good for them.
I think we should go and plant some tea trees up there.
The last thing is that they think it's okay to forage on it, and then the council come along and spray it. We don't want that outcome, and I'm continuing to fight them on it. So, those council guys, Moving along.
Well, we've talked about the Rugby World Cup final, so we won't discuss that again.
Look, fantastic. I tell you, it's worth discussing for long times, and lots of drinking and celebrations, and wow, it was just fantastic. And we've won it back to back now, and we're the first team in the world to do it. And I tell you, one of the teams that really impressed me, well, two actually, was Scotland. They played a really great game. And the other team is Argentina. I think they really are moving their game up to a high level. So congratulations to you guys for playing such awesome games. And we loved watching you.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens in 4 years in Japan. That's the next World Cup.
Yes, absolutely. And, wow, the All Blacks just did a fantastic job. Just had to say it. And
you've been doing splits, I hear. What's the update on that?
Yeah, no, I have been really, really distracted the last couple of weeks because there's so much going on. The weather has changed and we've had some awesome sunny days, and I've just been so excited to get out and sit in the apiary with the girls and see them so busy. And those little guard bees, they're my fave, they just absolutely are, just vigilant out there, chasing away any robbing bees if they're trying to get in. And it's just, I've just been so thrilled with the weather lately and managed to catch up on all my deckers. So that's great for my customers because the weather's been off and on. And yes, we've got some more deckers this week coming up. So that's awesome. And swarm update. Well, that's where I went to visit the swarm that we had located in that bench hive with top bar type frames, and we will put a blog together with some photos on that for you guys, and that should, you guys will love seeing that. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and shout out to Tracy because we know she listens to the show, so she knows all about that hive, doesn't she?
Yeah, Tracy, your dad's very chuffed with the way the hive's looking at the moment, so that's awesome. And yeah, we might split from them because they're such lovely. They were so easy to work, these bees. And I only did the smoker for a first puff at the entrance and a little bit on the top. And they were just awesome. They were really calm and just wonderful. So I have high hopes of this colony. So
yeah, and I picked up one in Kumi the other day, and that was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, we have had heaps of swarm calls because of the change in the weather and the temperatures going up. So we've organised a swarm catcher list, and we've had people who we just call up and they go and collect the swarms and start their own colonies. So awesome, and thanks for your help, guys, with this. And it's all part of sharing the love of bees, and the people who ring us obviously care enough to call us and are very, always mention that the bees are definitely in danger. So they're really willing to help and are very patient as we, organise the swarm catchers to go and get them.
Absolutely, and a sad story yesterday about a swarm that landed in the middle of the road, wasn't it? It was sad to hear about.
Yeah, we had a lovely gentleman call, and he said, we've got a swarm of bees, and then he said he went outside to have a look at them and they had just been run over. So
yeah, not a good idea to land in the middle of a busy road.
No, I think that and I said to him, any bees left, and he said there are very few. So obviously the queen was tired and landed on the road, and that was the end of it.
No good. And what's this food for bees?
There must be a story in that about, look, bees, don't cross the road.
No. I think what happens is the queen just gets tired and she just drops to wherever's closest. And because I've actually seen it in the middle of a walk in the bush, and I was on a track on a bush.
Yeah.
Or the woods, as people call it in England. And there was a bee swarm right in the middle, just on the ground, a huge carpet of bees.
Yeah, I had a call last week. It was a park, and they said that there was just a pile of bees on the grass. So, yeah, I think that the queens do get tired. So I don't know how far they travelled, those ones. So.
And what's the best way to pick up a swarm like that? I've got a tip.
Oh, well, if you were asking me what I would do, what I would probably do is stop all the traffic, go and take up the whole road and brush them into a cardboard box, and yeah, that's what I'd do. Try and get that queen in there ASAP.
And the other thing you do is if you get a box which is totally black and you stick it over the bees, they will actually move up into the darkness. That's a trick I learnt. It works.
Oh, okay, I see.
But if it's on a busy road, you've got to be concerned about your own safety too, guys, so be careful about that.
Yeah, so, and then there's hives that, colonies that end up in a 4-metre high tree, you've also got to manage the risks that are involved with all those things, so...
Yes, yeah, I know. And over the weekend, I found one in a tree, 4 metres in a tree, and I put the ladder against the tree, and they all reswarmed.
Gary did a little video on that, and that was
that's
incredible.
On our YouTube channel, if you want to have a look at that.
That other swarm you're working on at the moment was huge, and we've actually put them into 3 3/4 boxes now. So we'll probably move it tonight and get them back home into the quarantine apron, and they seem very nice bees too. So, I mean, let's be honest, all bees are nice.
Not all of them.
Yes, they are.
Yep, most of them are. And what's this food for bees you're talking about?
Food for bees. I think probably what my concern has been is that a lot of the colonies were starving, and the reason for that was because people were just not leaving enough honey on the colonies, and we had quite substantial periods of rain and bad weather where the bees could not go out. So I really encourage all beekeepers to try and keep at least 10 frames of honey for their bees. And the bonuses, there's a couple of benefits with that, and the bonuses is that you'll have their own food to feed them when you are going through winter, and the other bonus is that you can use whatever's left to create space for your splits. Because we always do preemptive splitting, so we do it before the queen cells become drawn out. We look at doing the splits when the cells start to be produced that are round. So it's before they become drawn out to a queen state. So it's more the emergency type cell that we would look at before we split. So, and if the population gets that big, then splitting it and moving the old queen away is a real great way to do it. And we do have a split method on our website. But before that, it's all about timing, assessing what's going on in the colony, how much brood you've got, how many fresh eggs you've got, making sure it's queen right and all those things, and then splitting.
Absolutely. And speaking of splits, there was no skidgeway for this one.
Skidgeway? What the hell?
Anyway.
I did say I pulled a few muscles doing the splits.
Yeah, well that... Okay. I thought you ripped your pants when you did the splits.
No, that's you.
Oh,
but that's something else, isn't it? Does it rip your nightie?
That's it. Anyway, we've got our first voicemail from someone out there, so let's play that. It's on our website we have a send voicemail button on the side, and
we've had a few of those, so I'm very excited to hear this one.
Okay, we'll play it now.
I find I'm so excited about finding the Kiwimana Buzz podcast that I can barely sit still or hold it on my head. I think it's the excitement only a free man can feel. Free man at the start of a long journey, whose conclusion is uncertain. Hope I can keep my bees alive. Hope I can reduce the mites in my hives. I hope my honey tastes amazing. I hope.
Wow, thanks
Oh
for that.
my God, that was awesome. I just got goosebumps all over. Oh my goodness.
He's got a cool voice, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So thanks for that. We're not sure what your name was, but we appreciate that.
We're so excited that you have, the same hopes as us, and,
We hope
hope is a good thing, perhaps the very best of things.
I think so. So hopefully you get to have a good season, and your winter is kind to your bees.
Absolutely.
Shall we move on to blog recap?
Banana.
Blog recap. This is where we recap the last 3 blog posts that were the best.
Okay, well, this looks pretty interesting.
For number 1, Beekeeping on International Podcast Day. This was a very popular podcast. So
Woohoo! Woohoo!
thanks for everyone that listened to that. It was cool, eh? And we released that at 12:01 on International Podcast Day. So
yeah, we really want to try and promote this. It's such a, those of you who are listening out already are on the right buzz length, because this is getting information to you in a really easy way, and you can just sit and enjoy. And we had a comment that they were really thrilled because they were listening through the podcast while they were working the bees. So we're glad to be part of your day, so that's awesome. Thanks, guys.
yeah, absolutely. And the next one is a great guy we met, Oren Fox. I mean, this one was entitled "Getting Young People Interested in Beekeeping." So here's some good tips there.
He's living this. He's living this as a 15-year-old. He was already passionate about chickens, and then it moved on to bees. So this young man is well worth a listen. And
we've got a little excerpt for you.
Yeah, awesome. Go for it.
Simply by exposing as many kids as possible to bees, I think that bees and how they operate the hives, how their effect on the ecosystem, like I just mentioned, is all interesting enough that if a kid starts to learn about it, that they will just immediately be intrigued.
Absolutely, Oren.
Amen to that, Oren. And yes, he's enjoying some time in the South Island of New Zealand at the moment. And yeah, we're thinking of you and hoping that it's all awesome.
Yeah, because we're getting a lot of rain at the moment down there, so I'm hoping he's not getting soaked.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He's probably experienced quite a bit of different kind of weather in New Zealand over the spring. It's been quite changeable.
Because the last photos I saw from him, he was covered in snow, so yeah, it was looked pretty cold. But I'm sure he's having a great time.
Yeehaw!
And if you want to... what is this, Cowboy Day? If you want to...
Banana.
If you want to listen to that one, it's kiwi.bz/fox. And the third one is what's happening in Aussie with honey beekeeping in spring. And this is a shout out to Thomas for sharing his photos.
Yeah, Thomas, thanks so much. We really appreciated this, and everyone loved to have a look and see how beautiful those combs of honey were. Just awesome.
And their season started really early, eh? It was awesome.
Yeah, and ours is blimmin' slow.
It is up here, not down in the suburbs.
In the suburbs seems to be just much warmer weather. Colonies are growing quite quickly, but I mean, I did my assessments and I ended up with awesomeness hives that were ready to split, so I split them, and then I had my building colonies, and 2 out of those 3 were ready to split, but the other 3, I'll probably be splitting them this week, and most of them, well, all of them never got as far as getting a huge queen cell, so I'll be interested to see how this week pans out in terms of queen cells, because the weather temperature, especially at the end of this week, is going to go up quite a bit. So the work in the apiary's been pretty tough, and it's been sort of like, instead of getting everything done at one time, I've had to sort of like, prioritise each colony differently. So it's been a bit more demanding.
Indeed. And speaking of demanding, let's move on to beekeeping news. Beekeeping news. News you can use live.
I think the most...
from the interwebs.
At Kiwimana HQ.
You need to stop talking over the newsreader.
I'm sorry. I apologise profusely.
Okay, first story, Devastation as hives stolen. A story from the Hawke's Bay by Jonathan Dine. Another story about thieving mongrels ripping off poor beekeepers around the country.
Yeah, thieving mongrels, all right. You know, they're just, it's greedy, and money grubbing.
Absolutely, and this is interesting because it quotes Dr. Peter Molan, who recently passed away, unfortunately, and he's the pioneer of Manuka honey research, and he estimates that the industry will be worth $1 billion by 2025. It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a huge benefit to the... Oh, am I allowed to talk now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry I interrupted you.
It's all right.
Anyway, I thought the best news of all was the All Blacks winning. And the second best news is that the commentators who were commentating on the All Blacks used the term banana.
You said that already.
I know, but I had to say it again because it's still beekeeping news that we are making a difference.
Okay. And what I was thinking is this is a serious issue about hive thefts.
No, I agree. And it's a lack of respect for people's property.
Yes, and the blurb here says thieves stole $14,000 worth of beehives in what a local business owner says was a targeted attack to get their hands on the increasingly valuable Manuka honey. I agree. I think this is all to do with money, and people can't be bothered doing their own work, so they steal others.
Yeah, I just think they got... Who the hell do they think they are anyway? These guys work bloody hard to do what they do, and it's their land, they've got their gear, and this is all about, just lazy asses, really, in my view.
Absolutely. I mean, and moving on, I think perhaps they are, but perhaps some kind of monitoring system would help to track where these hives are going.
Yeah, and I think that there are some works going on at the moment to track colonies in terms of weight and that kind of thing that connect to phones and other ways to inspect your hives, and all these sort of technologies are coming through. So I think we're talking about that too today, aren't we?
We are.
Awesome.
We got some feedback about this, and Barry Oliver from Australia, sorry about the rugby, Barry, he said, bugger, what's the odds of the thieves being caught? I'd say very little without some kind of tracking system.
They have caught some of them, haven't they? Because they found the apiary numbers on some boxes and some guy's property.
True.
So what does Michael Jordan said? He said it's sad, happens all the time. So
and he's from Wyoming.
Yeah, in the US of A. So it's not uncommon, but in New Zealand it's actually over the last 4 years has really started to really happen quite in larger numbers. So this is really disappointing. Very
disappointing. But Michael Jordan's from Wyoming, isn't he? And that's where Sheriff Longmire comes from. Yeah. I would have thought he could sort that out.
Oh, he would definitely sort that out. So get that new series going, guys. Anyway, I digress. So feedback, here's one from Vicky Wade. She had taken 12 beehives up north and heard on the radio that Northland police are taking this very seriously and have urged the public to get in touch with them about beehives on the move. I'm thinking that perhaps an online public diary that beekeepers can access to log their beehive travel plans, i.e. number plate and bee rego, and all others on the road with beehives should be targeted by the police. It may put a stop to the thieves.
Yeah, that's a good idea, right?
It is interesting, but I think that what these people are doing is they seem to understand when to move the beehives, because it seems to be that they're all gone in the morning. So they're obviously doing it at night, but we do think tracking on beehive colonies is probably the best way forward with some sort of GPS system on board. But yeah, that's a good idea. Taking action this way and getting the police to help as well will be awesome.
Absolutely. And Rita James also said, very sad for the bees and the owners. We need to set up cameras around the beehives nowadays. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, we're just going to be so monitored and cameras and,
Yeah, I know.
It's really sad.
And Kelly Brown simply says, "Oh no, sad face."
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely,
and,
Kelly. And
thanks,
shout out
Kelly,
to you.
Rita, Vicky, Michael and Barry for your comments, because absolutely we, it really is just not on, those buggers.
Yep, and I was talking to Vicky yesterday, wasn't I? And she's she's got a lot of hives now, so it's awesome.
Yeah, good on you, Vicky. And, cheers for your comments about the vaporizer and, that you say it's working well. So that's what we want to hear.
Absolutely.
Modular Beehive connects bees to the internet. Some great monitoring tools for beekeeping on this Indiegogo fundraiser campaign. Such things as hive location and letting you know if the queen is laying and how does it all work. So tell us about your crowd-funded products, and we're happy to mention them. The more notice, the better. Yeah,
because this one ends on the 7th of November, and we don't mind mentioning these things, guys. If you have these fundraiser campaigns, get in touch, and we can tell everyone about them before they run out.
Kiwi Mana love to share and help and give information, and these kind of things, are helping us. So the blurb here is that Apis is a startup from Portugal that has created tools for beekeepers to monitor their bees using the internet. Their redesigned hive and gizmos, that's a technical term, can help farmers keep a close watch on their swarms through the internet. So that sounds awesome. Have a look at that article, guys. You will enjoy this.
Absolutely, and there's a video there as well. It's fascinating to me how they actually can do stuff like discover if the queen is laying, discover when they're swarming. It's really amazing. So even if you have a look at it and to see the kind of things they can do, it's quite incredible. And hopefully they'll that campaign will get enough money and be able to do something.
Yeah, and then if it becomes available and it works and they get it on the market, we'll definitely let you guys know how they go with it.
Absolutely, and currently it's only sitting at 10% of what they need, so they obviously needed more publicity for this one, unfortunately.
Well,
it's only got 4 days to go.
Fortunately, they've got us here, so hopefully by the time that happens, they will have raised the money. So what's next, Gary?
This is an interesting article from How Stuff Works. It's called How Does Bee Sting Therapy Work? And bee sting therapy is the method where you actually use bee stings to treat diseases such as Parkinson's, MS and cancer. And this article explains how this works, and it also explains how bee stings work, which I found was very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical terms in there, so those who are into these kind of technical things will love this article. It says that this is a better use of venom than beauty producers.
Oh, that's me. I wrote that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I also...
and you've heard that was how acupuncture started.
Apparently, I have heard this in China. They used to, instead of using needles in the start of acupuncture, they used to use bees instead of needles. So this is kind of how acupuncture started. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that from several people, so it may be true.
It says here that it may sound a bit incongruous. Encourage bees to sting you on purpose? Using toxins to heal what ails us may sound like contradictory and perhaps even dangerous. Advice taken with caution, but for at least 5,000 years humans have relied on venom of all things for medical purposes. So this is an article. Have a look at it. I think the only thing I would say about this article is that they didn't mention that when a bee stings a mammal, a human, that they can only sting once, whereas on these trials they're talking about bees being able to sting up to 10 times. And they talk about the injury to the bee when it's when they're stinging onto solid objects and things like that. So have a look at this article and see how what you think, guys, and let us know. And
absolutely, and Barney Rubble has told us.
Barney Rumble.
Barney Rumble.
Barney Rumble, thank you for your comments. And
She says, or he says, well, we know it's a she, don't we? Well, they can't claim no bees were hurt. It's guaranteed death to bees, as if they're not struggling enough already.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Barney.
Woo, woo. I hear ya.
We loved your work on the Flintstones. Anyway.
I'm not sure how that connects, but
Barney Rubble, you know.
Yeah, but it's Barney Rumble, so this is a different kind of Barney. So is it Barney as in Barney? I
understand that Barney Rumble is her cat. Anyway.
Oh goodness me, there goes the dog. She's crazy. Oh, we let her out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Well, sorry about that. We had a customer come over.
Yeah, that was the commotion. Was Snow warning us that
Jim had come over.
So thanks, Jim, for coming over to see us and picking up your stuff and
giving us a little break.
Yeah, nice wax sheets and some sugar shake jar so he can do some varroa tree checking and monitoring. So that's all good.
But back to the podcast.
Okay, back to work. Focus.
Killer bees have been found in the Bay Area for the first time. Is an article by Kevin Schultz from, I think it's from San Francisco.
Kevin Ed Schultz. Okay.
From the San Francisco Gate newspaper. And the warmer weather in California is encouraging killer bees to move further north, and they are now in the San Francisco area. And Randy Oliver's quoted in the article as saying, "I don't foresee Africanized bees flourishing this far north and close to the coast," because I think they like warmer weather, don't they?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do survive, because then it's just showing you that insects, you know, they develop and they change and they respond to nature. So I hope they don't, because these are nasty bees. It says here an Africanized breed of honeybees, sometimes known as killer bees because of their swarming, aggressive and deadly nature when a colony is threatened. So it's found its way to the Bay Area for the first time, researchers say. And this article will be great reading, guys.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to make a comment about that, leave it on kiwi.bz/80. If you're in the San Francisco area, be keen to hear if this is affecting your beekeeping at all.
Yeah, and we had some feedback from Cass, and she said, "Far out. For a moment, I thought you meant the Bay of Plenty."
Which is a part of New Zealand.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. So, no, it's all good, Cazzle. It's not here, but not good news for our American friends over there.
Absolutely. Just remember, Kiwi Mana is international.
Yeah, baby.
Anyway.
Okay, well, I would like to mention this one, because I found this one of the most interesting things that I have heard about in recent times, and I think there's a lot of merit in what this person is saying. So this article is, "These scientists say we should be feeding bees mushroom juice." An interesting discovery from a gentleman called Paul Stammet, using the natural antibacterial properties of fungi to help the bees. The blurb says, "In the face of such troubling numbers and bees' 22 million euros per year contribution to European agriculture, conservationists are backing increasingly unconventional methods," medieval mead anyone, "in an attempt to save the winged creatures. Maybe mushrooms are the next logical step." So this article was about that they're doing studies on different types of mushrooms that provide different fungi and bacteria and those kind of things that the bees will actually ingest and use to keep healthy as part of their immune system, sort of their fuel for their immune system. And
well, we watched a video from Paul Stamets about this, and apparently the there's an element in the fungi. It's like an antibacterial thing, isn't it? Or like an antibiotic. For them.
Yeah. And he talks about that the fact that because there's so many forests, so the deforestation, and the fact that trees and the land where the trees are taken from are absolutely just cleared away. There's no rotting trees, and that in the natural course of things, when a tree falls down as it's rotten, it would start to rot away on the ground and start to produce fungi, and different mushrooms would grow from the ground and all these things. And as the tree rots down, it gets moisture, and then the bees will go there and feed off that. And they talk about the sap of the trees also being of benefit. So I think this is well worth a listen, guys.
Absolutely, it's really good. I enjoyed this, and he's done some field trials, and it actually determined that it actually increases the life of the bees, and it also reduces the viruses in the hives. So the bad viruses. So
yeah, and their thought premise is that this whole method of feeding the bees this food will mean that they will be able to fight varroa, because it'll help boost the immune system. And it's really interesting, because in our apiary we used to put clean water out, and I used to try and clean the bowls out to keep them from getting yucky. But there was one there that I didn't clean out, and it got dirt in it, and it got some sticks and a bit of rotting vegetation and stuff like that. And I noticed that the bees were always going to that first, that was like the first port of call. And I began to realise that there must have been a lot of minerals in that earth. So they love to go and sit in that one and feed off that. So I think that there is some real merit to this story, and I think that if they can provide a feed that we can give the bees, then we'd be very interested in this one, eh?
Absolutely, and it's also the other applications they're going to use it to, instead of using pesticides, they use the natural fungi things onto plants and stuff. So, and there's another article there in the show notes about, and this article is entitled "He Holds a Patent That Could Destroy Monsanto and Change the World." So that's another good article too. So yeah, it's really interesting.
And that would be just life-changing for us, and it would really turn around things, wouldn't it? Don't you think?
Absolutely, because he noticed in the video, this guy actually keeps bees. Paul Stammet keeps bees, and he said that his bees were feeding on his fungi trays. So they were taking the fungi away from the fungus, and bringing it back to the hive. So they're obviously naturally attracted to it for some reason. So it's awesome.
I think it's kind of like it's growing from the earth. So within the earth, there's lots of nutrients and everything and I can see how he can link the fact of deforestation to the outcome that will help the bees, because in reality the bees are losing a lot of, particularly over in the USA, from what I understand, there's huge amounts of areas that have nothing to offer bees, that it's just monocultures, and the reason the bees are getting sick is because there's just not enough diversity in their diet. And I love mushrooms. Maybe that's why. Maybe it gives me some nutrient that I'm lacking or something. So why not for bees?
Absolutely. No, it's great. It's a good story. And we've got some feedback from Dom Sim. Interesting. Anyone keen to try it? Absolutely. If we can find specific kind of fungus. It's not any fungus. It's a certain kind, isn't it? Yeah, it's not just any mushroom or fungi. No. It was really funny because he was wearing this hat on this speech that he does, and he said it was made out of mushroom. Yeah. He seems like a really fun guy, doesn't he? Yeah, fun guy. Oh, you heard it here, folks. Sorry, I had to use that. Banana. And we got a message from Joyce about this. Joyce Kennedy. Stop poisoning their food with pesticides, fungicides and herbicides, and they'll all may become healthy. I think, it says that then they and us may become healthy, and I think that's really true. We're just losing sight of the natural world, in my view, and
I think that with all these chemicals, it's all about a quick fix. So there may be an audience out there that you'll never touch because there's too much effort involved with going natural. So
absolutely, and there's a quote there, and you can click to tweet that quote. Anyway, it's mushrooms can heal, feed, and enlighten you, even possibly help save the world, and that's from Paul Stamets. So
I love that, and I think I really will follow this with interest, because if we can get this, the understanding of what he's putting out there and build on it, then I think we're going to have a real chance to help the bees a bit more.
Absolutely, and he'd probably be a great guest on the podcast, wouldn't he? We'll have to see if we can get hold of him.
Yeah, I'm
think
sure definitely.
He might be running around the bush too much. So.
Yeah, and searching under dead trees and stuff.
Yeah. This next story is the best plants for bees, and this is an article about a campaign called Plan B by the New Zealand Gardening magazine, but it's also got some good information about the best kind of plants for bees.
Yeah, this was to celebrate National Bee Awareness Month here in New Zealand, and that trying to increase the number and variety of nectar and pollen-rich flowering plants available to friendly insect pollinators in New Zealand. And so there's a couple of comments here that's saying blue, purple, or white and yellow flowering plants are the bees' favourites, guys. So they prefer plants that are single flowers because it's much easier for them to get into the flower to get the nectar and pollens off with a single row of petals, which, is pretty much an easy plant for the bees to just go crazy and forage in and roll around in the pollen. And, have a look at this article. It's, there are a lot of these kind of articles around, so plenty of information out there to help you get a really nice little garden going. And you don't need a big space, We've got some seed packets which just cover 2 meters, and, and it means you don't have to weed that piece of ground, because it'll slowly, the flowers will grow, self-seed, they're perennials, so... and you can even put a couple of annuals in there or something. So go for it, guys. Read this article and get inspired.
And we want to see photos of your gardens, don't we?
Yeah, get inspired, guys. And, even if you can't keep bees and you're interested in bees or nature, get a garden going. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to questions from you. Questions from you.
Well, we can help you the best that we can do.
Where can I get new queens in New Zealand? This is asked by John in Auckland as recently as yesterday.
Yeah, we're getting this question quite a bit, so it leads me to believe that people are losing their queens and are unaware, and then suddenly they've got a queenless colony, whether the queen has swarmed and the new queen has failed to get mated, or something untoward has happened to her. So we share this information so that if you need to get a queen, we have a supplier in Auckland, Dallas Russ from Dale's Pollination. His phone number is 09-276-4855.
Yeah, give those guys a ring. And we actually interviewed Dallas's wife, Sarah Russ, on episode 44, so check that out too.
Yeah, she's called the Bee Lady. So.
She's a dynamo, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, and the kids love seeing her talk about the bees, so she does presentations to the schools. So if you need something like that at your school, give Sarah and Dallas a ring.
Absolutely. And the next question was, will there be any mesh boards, screen bottom boards for virtual this season?
Oh my God, this is our ongoing saga, and we're really embarrassed to say that we have just not had time, and every time we've got some finished, they sell straight away. So we've really had a real issue with this, and our customers obviously getting impatient with us, which we can understand. And what we have had come to us is a person who's willing to build them for us. So woohoo, banana! Everything is awesome.
And we should have some next week.
And yeah, we're having some built as we record this session. So they are coming. They are really coming, guys. So thanks so much for your patience. And we also are working on robbing screens. Oh my God. Yes. You heard it here first, guys.
Okay. And if you have any further questions, you can email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz, or you can click on our SpeakPipe page, which is on the show notes there, or on the website, and you can leave a question there under send voicemail, like that one we had before. That was awesome. That was awesome.
I think we might need to play that one again, I think, at the end.
Maybe at the end after the show notes.
Yeah. And interestingly, on our website, we have provided a search button at the top where you can search for products, but you can also search for articles or blogs about the things that you need help with. So the other things that people ask us about is how to split a beehive, how to tell if your colony is hive queen right, how do you do your oxalic acid treatments.
It's all on there, isn't it?
It's all on there. So if you put a keyword in that top search box, it'll drop down some articles and you can pick from there. So we love to share, and these things are designed to help you. And, if you are needing some personal help and you need some issues, we can always come and you can book a beekeeper service and we can come and talk to you about your specific issues with your hive, and we're happy to do that. And, so plenty of information there to help you manage it. And we also have some new books in. And it's absolutely awesome. We're going to set them up for sale soon. And it's the Practical Beekeeping Guide for New Zealanders. And also the Manuka book.
Yes, from Cliff Van Eden. Great book. I enjoyed it.
Yes, it tells you a bit about the history of Manuka honey and where it all started. And, and introduces the wonderful Peter Morland, who has recently passed away. And what an awesome find he made, and just pure serendipity.
Absolutely. Let's move on to feedback from you. Feedback from you, and that was a beautiful tui bird, as we know.
Yeah, and most of you will know that now. That's our New Zealand native tui bird, which also called the parson bird. A very feisty, energetic black bird with 2 white feathers on its chest. And the voice box of this bird means that it can make all those sounds because it's got different parts to its voice box, apparently. That's a simplistic not the scientific breakdown of their biology. So, we love our tui.
Yep, absolutely. And we love our great listeners who leave reviews on iTunes. So this week...
Absolutely. This is fantastic.
This is from Herschel, and he says, awesome. And he's from America. And he's given us 5 stars.
Hey,
thanks, Herschel.
Yeah, thank you. We love it.
And we're talking about Herschel later on in the show because he's one of the... He's a... What was the word to say? He's a very brave man. I'll just say that, and we'll talk about that later. Coming up.
I'll look forward to that one.
And Herschel goes, I love listening to the exploits of Gary and Margaret. They make beekeeping fun and provide beginner beekeepers such as myself with great and timely information. Looking forward to episode 100. Oh, it's a long way away yet, Herschel.
We're working on it, Herschel. Don't you worry about that. But thanks for that, Herschel. And, we love you to take time to let us know what you think. And, it does make it worth us. So, thanks, Herschel, so much. And we love hearing from you. So, awesome.
Absolutely. Now, the next one is email from Tony. She was the lady that was on Periscope. And she says, I'm so excited to see you on Periscope. I had a very bad connection, so I missed most of it, but that's all right. We can play that later. I did hear you asked if anyone was listening to the podcast, and the answer is absolutely. Everything is awesome.
Go.
I think you're becoming an influencer, Margaret. Everyone should see the Lego movie. I write with a great big smile. I love your podcast and Periscope. I did try and leave you a voicemail many times, but it won't go through. Okay, we'll have to. Yeah, that's
we'll have to work on that for you. It seems to be okay. We got that other message through, so give it another go, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to you both, and keep happy bees and share your journey with the rest of us. And she's from Tony from Oregon. So thanks, Tony. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to you, Tony, and thank you. We need people who are passionate and who are really just participating and being part of the whole Kiwimana buzz. So thank you.
Absolutely. And the next message is from Malcolm, and he says, I received with your latest thanks, and I found your website by looking for podcasts on beekeeping. Yours is the best so far that I've encountered. Ooh. Did you hear that, Kevin?
Cool. Pretty cool. What's that all about?
Nothing. Just giving Kevin
bit of rivalry going on there,
yeah.
Friendly rivalry.
Absolutely not. I share some of the same interests. I'm a retired extension professional from the University of Florida. Since retiring from this formal position, he continues to write his Apis newsletter. And he recently featured our podcast with Randy Oliver in his newsletter. And you can actually, sorry it took us a while to get back to you, Malcolm, on this email. We're a bit slow with emails. But you can actually join his newsletter on our podcast page. So have a look there. And join his newsletter and have a read of what's happening with bees in America. Yeah,
thanks, Malcolm. And, everyone appreciates the efforts from everybody all over the world. All these efforts are helping create awareness and sharing the love of these wonderful honeybees.
Absolutely. And we got a message from Herschel again on Twitter. So thanks, Herschel. But and Herschel's been in a unique position because he's actually listened to every single one of our shows in the last 2 months.
Holy moly, that's fantastic.
Is it fantastic or is it insane? No, it's fantastic.
We'll let you guys decide.
So I think Herschel and me are the only ones that have listened to them all. Probably.
Indeed,
No, there's a few people that have done that. I know some guy drove a long way and listened to them all.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's saying... Do you want to say this?
Oh, whatever. Okay, the show has definitely improved over time, Gary. Of course, Margaret is as awesome as ever. So the quality of the sound along with the flow between segments gets better with each episode. Well, we hope we've lived up to that this episode. Anyway, your choice of guests have been a great mixture of well-known and those who are not well-known but should be. Absolutely. You are both a joy to listen to. Thanks for all that you do for beekeeping. Now you get to work on that book for us. Now there's a challenge.
Yeah,
I'm working on one.
Are you writing a book, Margaret?
I'm writing a children's book.
Oh, okay.
That's what I want to do, yeah. Absolutely.
And also we got a message yesterday on Facebook. This is breaking news. Matt Brake in England. He said, still loving the show. Oh, that's great, Matt. And Gary, it's fun to listen to whilst I'm working in the garden. Give my regards to the awesome Margaret.
Thank you.
Bananas, hope you have a great season this year. All the best. Well, banana to you, Matt.
Banana!
Thank you for everyone that made a comment and sent us an email. It makes it easy to listen to.
Not only are the bees bringing us together, but the bananas are.
We hope so.
Well, that was awesome, and I really enjoyed that this week. And looking out the window, we've got a wonderful day today, and we've had a customer here, and everything's just wonderful. And, yeah, thanks for taking time to listen to us today, guys, and keep up the good work out there.
Yep, and if you want to keep in touch with us, you can join our fantastic newsletter, which comes out every fortnight now, doesn't it? And it's kiwimana.co.nz/sign up. So sign up to our newsletter and you can hear what we're doing.
For free! Hallelujah!
Well, thanks, guys. And after the show notes, we'll play that last voicemail we got again for you guys.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gary, for all your efforts as well. That's why we do this, because you have all this passion. So well done, you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to Margaret, too, for all her passion. And your nice bacon and eggs.
Ah, yeah, I do a bit of that.
Okay, well, see you next week.
See ya!
I find I'm so excited about finding the Kiwimana Buzz podcast that I can barely sit still or hold it on my head. I think it's the excitement only a free man can feel. Free man at the start of a long journey, whose conclusion is uncertain. Hope I can keep my bees alive. Hope I can reduce the mites in my hives. I hope my honey tastes amazing. I hope.